Hey, Coach Colin Castello here with Shot Mechanics Basketball, and welcome to another episode of the Ask Coach C show. Today we're going to talk about a few different things. We're going to talk about holding your follow through. We're going to talk about your dominant eye. We're going to talk about what if you're a middle finger shooter, but it's coming off of your ring finger. Now, before we get started, I just want to give you all a little heads up. I started a Facebook group for the Splash Army on Facebook. So if you want, head to the link below, join up, sign up for the group. It's 100% free, where you can ask questions. You guys can interact with each other. And I pop in and out of there and kind of interact with you guys as well. So if you want to, scroll down to the description below and then go to the link to the Facebook group and join the Splash Army today. All right, so the first question comes from that dude, and they want to know, hey, Coach C, seriously, why is everybody saying hold the follow through? Once the ball comes off the hand and it's in the air, you can't change anything about the shot anyway. So why put your arm in the air? It's pointless. All right, so that's a really great question, and it makes sense because if the ball is out of your hand, what does it matter if your hand's still up? And it's not really because holding your follow through guides the ball any better. Instead, what it does is it helps you figure out if you need to make any changes, right? So if you never hold your follow through, you'll never know if your follow through is a little bit off to the left or off to the right or too high or too low because you won't kind of be able to see it. So that's kind of the biggest reason for wanting to hold your follow through is the fact that it lets you know as the shooter everything's staying straight. After all, that's one of the most important things. So as long as it's staying straight, it's not that big of a deal. You'll see a lot of great shooters, like once they release the ball, their arm will drift off to the right. That's okay as long as when it comes out of your hand, it's completely straight. So once you get to be a good shooter, not that big of a deal, but when you're first learning and when you're a younger shooter, it is really important. That way you can kind of recognize when it's going off to the left, off to the right, and make those adjustments. All right, so the next question comes from Douglas Fezler, and he wants to know, I happen to be right-handed, but my dominant eye is my left eye. How should these aspects of myself affect my shooting form and set point? Any help? So that's a really good question. And I'm still kind of doing a lot of research into it, but I think the best thing to do if your dominant eye is on the opposite side of your shooting hand is that you're gonna wanna modify your shot line a little bit. So a lot of guys, if they're right eye dominant and they're right-handed shooters, as they bring the ball up, it's gonna come along that eye. Now, if your left eye is dominant, that's gonna be the one that you want guiding the ball. So I would modify my shot line to bring it up this side of the face just slightly. I haven't done enough research to really figure it out, but I'm guessing guys like Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and Kevin Martin, I'm guessing they're all left eye dominant because that's where their shot line comes up, is off of that left side. The thing that you want to be careful of if it's coming off your opposite side is that you don't follow through out and away. You want to make sure that when you come up that your fingers go down through the basket. As long as you can do that, you're probably good to go, and it's not going to be a big deal if your shot line's off to the side just a little bit. So try that out and see if it works for you. All right, the next question comes from Keon Powell, and he wants to know, hey coach, I'm trying to become a middle finger shooter, but when I shoot, I tend to release with either both the middle and ring finger or just the ring, causing me to miss to the right. What would you recommend? All right, so this happens to a lot of shooters, and it's all because of the way that your body's kind of built trying to get your wrist behind the ball. It's a little bit hard, especially if you're a middle finger shooter. So there's a few different things you can try to do. Number one, you can try tilting your feet just a little bit more. Sometimes that'll help you get your wrist behind. Number two, you can try tucking your elbow in a little bit more. I always like to tell my athletes to pretend like they're tapping their hip or their rib cage with their elbow. That way it's underneath the ball as you're coming up. You can use the palm rotation that I like to talk about, where you're shooting hands on the side of the ball and then rotates around last second and finishes middle finger to the floor. Those are all kind of mechanics that you can tweak around and try to change. But one thing that you might want to check out is you very well may be a split finger shooter. There's more people that are split finger shooters out there than they even realize, and that's basically just meaning that the ball's coming off your pointer finger and your middle finger at the same time. So if you are a split finger shooter, just make sure that the V of your split fingers is in the center of the ball, and that when you finish your follow through, that V goes down through the basket for your follow through. There's a lot of people that are split finger shooters and don't even realize it. They think they're a middle finger shooter or they think they're an index finger shooter, but they really aren't. And so that can throw your shot off quite a bit. So sometimes if kids or athletes are having the ball slide off their ring finger, I have them shift their hand just slightly and see if they're actually a split finger shooter. So give that a try and see if it works for you. Again, I'm Coach Colin Castello with Shot Mechanics. Thank you for watching this episode of the Ask Coach C series. And don't forget, if you've got a question that you want answered, leave it in the comment section down below and I very well may get to it. Also, if you're new to the Shot Mechanics family, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because we put out 4 to 5 videos every week and they're gonna get you better. And you can also click the button up here or the link in the description, get a free copy of my top 3 favorite shooting secrets. These are mechanics you can plug directly into your game and probably shoot a higher percentage right away. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Splash on. Bye.